My favorite topic as a counselor is travel, and it comes up a lot in sessions. Couples, individuals, they ask all the time, why do I get into so many fights and arguments whenever I travel? Why, if I'm on a trip to some place I really want to go, if I've spent the money and taken the time off work, and I'm there with someone I really like, why am I getting into so many meaningless, stupid arguments? Arguments that haunt me for the whole trip from start to finish, and which sometimes seem to have damaged the whole relationship. I'm often asked, how can we become one of those couples who have disasters when they travel, but come out of it stronger and happier than ever before? These are great questions, and I love them because they go to the core of why travel can be so transformative. Travel can change us as individuals. Travel can really make a difference in our relationships. And a lot of it comes to how we think about travel and each other, and the kind of questions we ask each other. So, today, this is the world's safest, cleanest, most hygienic, top-rated airport. It's Changi International Airport. Now, it's plush, it's cozy, lots of food to eat. Everyone here knows that their plane is probably going to leave on time. Everyone here knows that their suitcases are going to get packed okay. But I've not been here for more than about, I don't know, like 10 minutes, and already I've seen couples getting into all the familiar fights. Boys, I know you recognize these fights because we've all had them with our partners at some point or another. I just saw the classic, honey, you're wearing your flip-flops and I wanted you to wear different shoes. I left them out for you. I heard the other classic, which was, babe, you got that whole handbag and you don't have a pen in there. I don't understand. I saw several couples do that hand slappy thing where someone has left the passports somewhere that's either too accessible or not accessible enough. We've all been here and done that. But why does it happen to us? What is it that brings us out of us? Maybe before the plane even takes off. So, good question, and I'll give you the answer. In short, it's travel anxiety. Now you might think, no, that's not me. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't worry about airplanes. I can watch airplane crash movies without any nightmares. I don't mind when the plane takes off. I sleep fine on the plane. I don't have travel anxiety. Well, that might be well and good. But travel anxiety is a little weirder than that. And it's really the sum of all of your weird fears that you might never have thought about before. See, when we get to the airport, there's all these anxieties we have, which are pretty tough to pin down. We might be worried, about a connecting flight. Is our luggage too heavy? Do I have that extra page on my passport just in case? How valid is my passport? You might be worried about more specific stuff. Is my wife or girlfriend gonna like the hotel that I chose and paid for? I've heard couples worry about things like, I argued very strongly to go to this destination. What happens if Sri Lanka doesn't live up to what I fought for? It's gonna be awkward. All these and other kind of worries float through people's heads when they get to the airport, or long before they get to the airport. Now, the problem is that they're kind of tough to pin down. And the part of our brain that deals with worries and anxieties a lot, you might have heard of it, is our amygdala. It's connected to our flight or fight response. And this is an ancient part of our brain. When I say ancient, I mean it's reptilian. Even crocodiles have an amygdala. And it's a great part of the brain, though, for keeping us alive for millions of years. We have survived jungles, savannas, forests, deserts, and we've done that with basically a threat detection supercomputer. We spot threats before they happen and we take action on it. And then we go into something called flight or fight, which I'm sure you've heard about. It's when our brain detects a threat that it deems pretty serious. Get to that later. But when the brain thinks it's a big deal, we jump into action. Cortisol, adrenaline, all these hormones flood through our body. Our eyesight becomes worse. So, plot spoiler, when you see people running around an airport like I am here today, looking for the board and they're not seeing their flight number, it's because their eyesight has literally become worse. When we become stressed, and we go into our flight or fight response, our sense of hearing diminishes as well. So we're literally not able to hear things as clearly as we normally do. Now that's not great if you're trying to listen out for flight announcements, and it's even worse if you're meant to be paying attention to something your wife or girlfriend said. We also become less creative, which means we're bad at problem solving. So something like, hey, my favorite pen is out of ink, isn't a problem which, it should be an easy one to solve, but when we're stressed and anxious, it becomes like a real problem that is harder to solve. Not a great combination. You might be thinking, wait, none of this is good. How's it meant to help me? Well, it's flight or fight. It's meant to protect us from leopards, snakes, tigers, lions, or whatever else we were battling thousands of years ago. But at a plush airport like Changi International, where there really is no threat, it's not that helpful because you're not going to, obviously, actually run out the airport. You're not going to get into a fight, certainly not with your wife, and certainly not with someone in a uniform. So it kind of just goes in a bit of a circle for us. We can't put our finger on what the problem is to solve. And all these fears, future hotel bookings, is my wife going to like it? What's the destination going to be like? Did I remember to bring the charger? All starts to become a big amorphous worry in our head. At the same time, we're out of our familiar settings. It's called displacement. We're not really sure about the patterns. We're a little bit out of our territory. And when that starts to happen, we start to feel it and it creeps up. And then our brain will do this thing where it targets on as something a lot more familiar than, I don't know, whatever you're worried about. Jet lag, disconnected flights, and even if you're at a beautiful airport like this one that I'm at, Changi International, you're going to start snapping at something that's nearby familiar. And plot spoiler, is probably going to be your wife or your girlfriend. Now, you might think, well, great, so what do I do? I'm hardwired to panic at the airport. I'm hardwired to have these anxieties. How am I going to be able to get around that? Well, it's not too bad. There is a huge piece of science called interpersonal neurobiology. And one of the most famous takeaways from it ever is this idea of if you can name it, you can tame it when it comes to your feelings and your fears. So if you have these generalized feelings of anxiety and you can label them intellectually as travel anxiety, you're going to take the edge off. And this isn't some kind of hokey feel-good exercise. Very comprehensive brain scan studies have shown that if we can label a feeling, the amygdala, that flight or fight part of our brain, is significantly less reactive. So you have a better chance of not completely losing your cool at the passport check-in line with your wife or your girlfriend. Now, it's great for you to be able to label it, but what's better and so great for your relationship is if you're able to talk about this to your wife or your girlfriend. If you can sit down and say, babe, I really want to talk to you about travel anxiety. I think I have travel anxiety. Well, she's probably going to first say, no shit, Sherlock, because you fight at the airport every time. But it's also a great chance for you to talk it through with her. What freaks you out about travel? Is it passports? Is it jet lag, time zones, getting on the plane? Whatever it is, she will understand you so much better and she will know your label for it. And your label is going to be travel anxiety. So when you get to the airport, you feel antsy, she might look at you and say, shit, it's that airport thing again. It's travel anxiety, isn't it? And then you'll be like, yes, it's not you, honey. It's just travel anxiety. That's pretty handy for you, and it's pretty handy for your wife to understand you. But it goes both ways too. So if you're at the passport check-in and your wife starts to lose her cool, you know what? It might not be because you wore the wrong pair of flip-flops. It might not be because the passports are buried at the bottom of your bag. It could be that she's experiencing travel anxiety too. So if in the days, weeks, months even before you travel, you can sit down, chill out, and have a conversation with your wife or girlfriend about what does travel anxiety look like for you, you will be so much better equipped for when you finally get to the airport and finally take off. The more we understand each other, the better the trip is going to be. I hope this has been helpful, so subscribe, stay tuned, and I will walk through more practical ways that we can have better conversations, to have better connections, so we can have better adventures when we go on our travels.